Hi, I'm doing fantastic. I had a fantastic night's sleep. I woke up and I saw the beautiful rolling snow hills. I'm doing very well today. It's fun in some ways. I don't think it's the first time I've done an event where it's like a little out of the way. Like I did Genting, which was like a 2 hour drive from the airport. This one's a little longer than that. But if you come to a place like this, you want to have it like be nice and beautiful, and really worthwhile. And like here, it's really beautiful, and we haven't had all the production issues I thought we were going to have doing something like this in a ski resort. So what was there was that Chinese event, right? The one on a boat, maybe it was the NYC or something like that. Like there's this terrible event in China. They try to run it on a boat, and like the internet was terrible and all these other problems. So yeah, it's nice to come to an event where they make it interesting, different, stands out, but it doesn't fail. So as far as the caliber of teams at this event, like I think it feels this event is full of a whole bunch of teams who are either underdogs, like shouldn't stand a chance, but could cause an upset. So we look at like teams like Team Spirit, like the Brazilian team could have done that maybe. Like you looked at those type of teams, and then you have the other teams where it's like, well, they should be performing better than they currently are. Like NIP, like when are they actually really going to have success? I think everyone's still asking that question. Like when are the players all going to start to gel together? Nigma, their first performance as well in their first series wasn't fantastic, and they weren't really tested in their second series either. So it still feels like a lot of these teams just don't have a firm grip on either themselves or the current meta. I think the only team which really I thought coming into this tournament was going to be a lot more stable was just RNG. And that's because they've been playing so much. They've been playing in the China National Cups. They're playing against all the top teams. They've been directly exposed to like meta development. So it feels like they were a lot better favorite coming into this competition, unlike teams like Nigma who haven't played for a month. I actually even heard they didn't even boot camp properly coming into this event too. Yeah, so like with OG, like they took a lot more than just a couple of months off. I think they only just played for fun throughout the years. Like OG still had a presence. They were looking for their extra one, but like maybe it was also just in case Anna didn't want to come back for the main event. But a team that comes back, they know how to work with each other. They throw all caution to the wind and then just follow the mind of like their draft of the mentality that is OG. Like that's so dangerous. Like everyone fears the low tier teams that come in and like they've come up with some strategies, some plans to win a game because they can win at least one. But when you have a team that's like of such high caliber players as OG and such experience as what they've got, like through Nota, through Seb, like they're gonna draft things. Seb always loved breaking Dota. And it's exactly what he was able to do, be it like damage, like your reductions, through TIA, or be it your IO and everything else that was just busted about it all. At TI9, they find really great ways to do it, and they've got such quality to execute it that no one can see it coming. There's no prep for this. Well, I actually hate Snapfire and Void Spirit with an absolute vengeance, but like as most things, like Valve have things like added, like when new heroes come to the game, they're massively overpowered, so they can get more of their data to understand how they nerf it. And then they'll get nerfed, and then eventually it'll get put in captain's mode. But by the time it'll probably reach captain's mode, you'll be like, I don't know if this hero is actually that good anymore. That's just the way it always works. Hero gets added, and then you'll find a combination with it. And that's where I think like leading into something like TI10 will probably take that long, like another like 6 months, and then you'd be like, now I think we know how we can make Snapfire or Void Spirit work because they found something to sync it with. I remember a time when Valve said we're going to patch really like small increments, so the changes are not that drastic. And then it's like, here's a crap ton of items. By the way, we're going to remove a shrine from each side. We're going to throw in these outposts, which now take out secret shops as well, take out the side shops, so you don't have that to work in this lane. It's like, oh my god, these like old as time, like these are staples that were Dota, and they're just being destroyed. So I felt a little sad about it because I find like if I hadn't been following Dota for the last year, I wouldn't recognize what it is today. And that's a little sad for like old dogs like me, but change is the only constant, right? So it's going to come. They try and keep their game interesting. And maybe at some point it will be interesting, but I fear it has a big backlash of it's too hard to keep up with. Like it's already hard enough to understand, but everything that someone who understood about Dota 3 years ago really doesn't apply today. So how can someone who's like, oh yeah, after 3 years I'll come back and watch Dota, and then they're like, what the hell is this? I understand League of Legends better than I understand Dota 2. Like that, I feel is a problem. See, RNG has always been part of Dota. Like we wouldn't have had the 17%. Like if there wasn't RNG, so it's always good to have something like that. But I know, like my personal opinion is I don't like to see item progressions dictated by RNG. Like specific things that happen during team fights, sure, but item progressions were always an art. It was something that like the players they had down pat, and now it's like this random item drops. I guess we just give it to this person. It's just like an extra bonus that gets dropped without any kind of like skill or planning to create this. Like we had a game yesterday. Like everyone was been looking for like telescopes and the bows. Like once they would give me this insane attack range for all my range heroes, and they got get like both of them went to like this like 3 melee core lineup. Where you're like, well, what the hell is this going to be used for? Like it's not something that could be planned for. It's not a strategy that could be implemented. It's something you have to adapt to on the fly. But that would be okay if there was some way you could even plan for that kind of shift. But if you're like 3 melee heroes, you can't use all these range perks, but another team could. Like this doesn't feel like it's balanced to me. And then it's like it's less RNG and it's more like you get sabotaged by the RNG. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think there could have been some better ways to do this. There could have been some more. Like I like the ideas of having the outpost because it actually feels a lot more like the old capture point stuff that Ice played with back in Warcraft 3 Dota. And he kind of scrapped it at the end of the day because it was kind of like where the shrines were. I think we had like 4 capture points on the map. But yeah, that was a long time ago, so that's my memory's not so great. But like I like the idea of having points to contest, but when the items just drop randomly, what's you contesting? I'm going to contest the entire jungle on both sides. There needs to be like something else that makes it where there's a focal point. The more focal points you can make, the more contests you can have, the more fights you'll end up having because people will fight over this. So if an item's going to drop in a specific place at a specific time, like with specific control, then this is great. Maybe your neutral items actually start coming from the outposts on the side. Like maybe they're controlled if you can start destroying them, or you can convert multiples into get a higher tier one. Like these are different things that maybe they can start playing with, where there's some level of skill behind it and there's less reliance on RNG, or at least you can turn the RNG to your favor based off good tactical decisions. See the funny thing is there's this oh god, it was actually a battle royale game, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it actually came from High Res Studios, and they had it so you had furnaces. So you could take your weapons, you can put it inside the furnace, and the furnace would put up a big pile of smoke so people could see that someone was there, like crafting a weapon or like something like that. I can't remember the exact details, but like that was nice. Where you create a focal point where you can upgrade something, like, and people would know that you're doing it. Like this is how you create a focal point, and like it was a lot more needed like in battle royales because battle royales were like everywhere. Like Dota is a lot more like refined. Like vision is a key thing, but maybe something like this, like instead of it just being random, like I explained it in the lore. Why do these neutrals now have these items? Are the neutrals using these items? Like it's like have we got to work out that the satyrs crafted the bows? Like where do the fangs come from? We don't have any like do we have living dead kind of people who drop fangs? Like there's not as much of a connection because there's just like a crap ton of items. Sense of myself that just basically get dropped out of the game, and you're like, why is this here? Like, yeah, we don't need to have logic for everything. There's like it's almost as much logic as composite damage used to be, but like it would be nice if there was just something that made it feel like it was a lot more thought through than just here's a whole bunch of items into the game. It's the stupidest debate. It's the stupidest debate. I don't even know like why it had to be started again. Like this happened in the early days mainly because like there was direct competition. Like there was the whole issue of Dota All Stars, like what happened with the website when it gets shut down. Okay, ancient history, and it was all pretty much buried. I don't think anyone really cares, like because League of Legends have a fantastically built scene. Their game is unique to it. Like it doesn't need to be compared to Dota because it didn't want to be in the first place. In fact, the original split, the reason for the departure of the developers was one wanted to be competitive and one wanted to be casual, and that was the split. And then there was the argument between it. But then League of Legends, like, we can make a casual game competitive as well, and then you can question everything. And it's a great story. And then everyone's like, we can accept who we are, and we can just live with this. We agree to disagree that we are both good games. Done. And then you just want to go out there and go, hey, we're better than you. By the way, this thing is good, this thing is good, this thing is good in Dota. But fundamentally, mechanically, which is a direct attack on players, like, it's basically saying, like, your players are less skilled than ours. It's like, why do you need to do this? Like, and especially do this without any kind of, like, founding. It's almost like a Trump tweet at this point. Like, there's no depth behind it, but you're just blindly attacking whatever the fuck you want. It was idiotic, and it deserved a harsher response than what it actually got from the Dota community. But at the end of the day, that's also because, like, who gives a fuck anymore? Like, we don't care if you think you're better. That's never been the Dota way anyway. Dota's like, if you're part of us, you're part of us. If you're not, you don't understand us. And League of Legends has also been very similar. So why? It's pointless. And I think rant is now done.
People like argue.
But it's something like, the person also came from Shaw. Let me throw a bit of controversy out there, Shaw. But it's funny, like, you have that. It's like, did you win an LCS? Are you actually at that point where you say you're at the top of your game? And have you played enough Dota to understand this? Like, are you actually coming? Like, I always do this when people like, they try and give criticism, and people are like, oh, but you got to listen because it should be constructive criticism. And I like Reddit posts, like, every social media, any person who's in the public light should be doing this, because if you listen to every single thing that's thrown at you, you're going to get angry, you're going to get really depressed, and you're going to have a very hard time living this life. And quite simply, I like to rank the importance of it based on the content and the person it's coming from, and just, like, the respect I have for that person. So it's like, I look at, okay, so who did it come from? Okay, professional League of Legends player, great. What's the comment actually saying? Nothing of value, it's just a throwaway. So my respect for that person drops drastically for any future things that they then make. And the comment I totally disregard, because it's not constructive, it's not well thought out, and it's just a random sideswipe. So you do the same type of thing. If anyone criticizes the work that you do day in, day out, it's like, okay, so what do they know? Like, someone's going to criticize commentary. Like, you can criticize from a point of being a receptor. You can from being a viewer. Like, this is a bad thing to do because I didn't really appreciate it. But at the same time, they're also one viewer out of a very large amount. So, like, are they actually representing the majority? Are they making points which is valid for the majority? It's I think it'll be a lot more special than like I think China was. I didn't feel like it was TI at China, and not because we were in China. Like, the event was still run really well, but it didn't really feel like there were, like, a whole bunch of special things that were done. There was too much drama around it, getting people inside the stadium knowing beforehand, like actually having, like, an equal representation inside the crowd. Was very difficult. Unlike when you, like, run it in America, where you've got, like, a large Chinese population who's there, the Russians come in droves as well. Like, it's like, it always felt very balanced. And I think TI10 can be very balanced as well. Like, it's very accessible for all areas of Europe, and Europe is very, very diverse. So I think that it's going to be good. I think it's going to be very enjoyable. I think the venue, I kind of almost wish it was bigger, because I think it deserves it. And I really hope that Valve is able to give it justice for TI10. Yes, the 10th TI, it's 9 years of Dota 2. And there should be a big hoo-ha about it.